Hello and welcome to Royal Oak Comics Party, episode 28. Today, our guest is Paul Hubbarth, video editor, skating man, skating with the shoe boot.
Scathing man.
Scathing man.
I get angry. I take it out on my rollerblades.
Scathe everyone.
I scathe them.
Aspiring Frenchman. You have many qualities.
Yeah, I'm jack of all trades. Maybe more like a 10 of spades of all trades.
You are a 10, Paul.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah.
So, you moved to France.
Sort of. Yeah. So I had an opportunity to do some traveling, and I took it. And I went to France for 3 months and kind of jumped around Europe a little bit. I got to see Poland. I got to hang out in Spain for like a weekend and improve my French skills in France. And then on the way back, I had a buddy in France who did an internship here, and he had just finished undergoing chemotherapy. He had brain cancer, and he wanted to get out of his country and see the West Coast. So, long story short, one of our mutual friends who had just moved to San Jose was like, "Hey, man, you want to come out and do this West Coast thing?" And I said, "I'd love to go on the trip with you guys, but I'm out of money, I need to start working." And then he said, "I'm looking right at the camera and talking to the audience. I should be looking at you guys, right?" Like,
I think you're the only person ever on the show who has addressed the audience,
Hello,
including
audience.
us.
Hello. Oh, wait, I'm all over the place. I have every camera. They're mine. They're all mine.
We're breaking the fourth wall.
Okay.
It's a very strong wall on this show.
All right. Okay. I respect the wall. I get it. Okay.
So were you skating when you were in France, or?
Yeah.
So you've been skating for 1,000 years?
Pretty much. I pretty much always had wheels on my feet in one way or another. As long as I can remember, we used to do roller skate music parties in my parents' basement growing up as kids. My sister and I would, throw on the boombox and just skate around in circles, listening to whatever tapes we could find, and that was always really fun. And then around third grade, rollerblading was a thing, and I bought a pair of rollerblades, and we played a lot of hockey and got into the jumping and stuff, and I just never gave it up, So it's not as childish as everyone wants to tell me it is, but it's probably pretty childish. But still, I have fun doing it, so why stop?
It sounds fun.
It's way fun.
Is it it's the kind of skates that have, like, there's a little thing in between all the wheels, so you are, like, sliding and grinding on stuff? I
wish I had thought about it a little bit more and had brought a pair of one skate to show off. But yeah, so there's different types of skates you can buy. Some are more engineered for fitness, so the wheel arrangement's a little bit different. Some are for hockey, so the boot might be shaped differently and offer different angles. Or if you're going to do the skate park type stuff, you're going to have a different wheel setup with a little wider sole base, so you can lock onto the sides of your skates and do grinds and do tricks and feel good about it and not totally eat it. So yeah, there's a space between the middle two wheels usually, so you can lock onto grindable surfaces.
I had a friend when I was a kid. I had a friend who was really into this, into like the aggressive. Is it still called that?
It is. But
it's a shunned term. Passive aggressive skating.
That's kind of more what I do these days in my older age.
I actually had a pair of those skates, but the only thing I remember was like trying to like go on like a pipe with it and grind on it, and then my legs like went too far apart, and like it felt like my groin was being torn open from underneath. So I didn't do it anymore because it felt like I was in hell.
That can happen.
There was. I don't know if you want to talk about the one thing that happened in front of Dondero that time.
Oh, we can talk about all the injuries I've ever had.
But like, I have seen the worst of mutilation, murder, decapitation things that the internet has to offer, and nothing has stuck with me and horrified me more than the footage of when you fell off the thing or launched off the thing, and like you take your skate off, and it's not even like it's the whole video that's horrifying, it's like the two frames of your foot comes out of the skate and it just goes to the side in the most unnatural way. Like your socked foot just goes a tiny movement. And I remember you had it in Final Cut and you're shuttling back and forth between the two frames, and it's just this limp foot going like that. And it haunts me. Like, it's so visceral bad.
It still haunts me. I've gone back to that spot and seen my friends do what I was trying to do, and they do it with gusto. And I don't know. Like, one of the first things I did when I got back into town was I went back and looked at that spot, and I was all like, is it going to happen? And I'm just like, I don't think so. No, I'll just give it maybe. I don't know. But
what happened? Was your foot like broken in half? What happened to your foot?
So there's a big stair set right at Dondero, and then there's
the high school that we went to.
Yeah, the high school that we went to, and there's a planter box that probably is about somewhere between knee and waist high. That just juts straight out. So from the top of there to the bottom, you're talking like 8 to 10 feet or something.
Yeah.
And I was there with my buddy Oscar, and we decided to try to conquer this spot, and so he's successful, and I'm kind of close, but I'm not really getting it, right?
Was he taping while you're trying to do the trick?
So we were filming each other, right, taking turns, and it was my turn to go, and I went to go jump on it, and something didn't go right, and I just kind of missed it and fell, but I fell without any control, and so I landed kind of on the inside of my foot, and I kind of landed and twisted it this way, and that was the end of my summer. I was about to go on a big trip, finish high school, go to France actually, and I never did. Went next year, but I got 7 screws and a metal plate, and I was casted up for, I don't know, months.
Is that foot more powerful now that it's unbreakable and full of steel?
I don't know. The therapist was impressed with the strength when I got the cast off, but we worked it, and I'm still skating and doing stuff. Sometimes I feel pain in there. I don't know the full extent of all the damages, but there are times if I'm doing stretching or something, you'll feel a limitation. But I mean, yeah. That wasn't enough to stop me from pushing it further. And
that was what? Long time ago?
Yeah, that was 2001. So that was...
That's forever ago.
14 years ago.
Dang.
And it wasn't, I'm still doing it. So we have some really good doctors here in Michigan, and that's cool. So thank you to my orthopedic surgeons. Appreciate it. You helped me live a full, fulfilling rollerblading lifestyle.
A footful life.
A footful life. Yes.
Okay, so that didn't stop you though. You went on and did more skating and conquered more conquering.
Yep. Still doing it too. So out in Oregon, it's really nice. I got to meet a lot of people. We went to Vancouver for a contest. It's called the Popularity Contest, and the way they do it, everyone just skates and hangs out. Everyone has a wristband, and then a number of people make the finals, and then whoever everyone decides is the best skater, they vote for them on the wristband. So it's this really cool.
Oh, it's like a public judging thing.
So it's a really cool way to do it. Me and the guys I went up there with, Levi and Dustin, we all made the finals, and Dustin ended up winning, so that was really cool. So as you're getting older, but like it's cool to know that you can still handle it. And I don't know if the only reason I made the finals is because no one is starting to rollerblade anymore, so we're all getting older, and so
you're the only ones left. Everyone else has a sideways foot.
Right. Everyone else got a sideways foot, or they're doing other things with their life, but whatever.
Did you live with the guys that you were skating with, or were they just friends who were also out there, or what?
They were just friends who were also out there. It was a really funny story. I was trying to apply to a job, and then I saw some guy wearing a rollerblading hat, and I was like, you skate? And he's all like, yeah, we're going around 5 o'clock. You want to go? And I was all like, all right, cool. And then we just became like best friends. That was Zach and his brother Levi, and that was a good session. Then just kind of grew from there, and we started doing like a weekly session, and then people started coming out. Chris and Anthony started coming down from about an hour north, and we just held it together, and it got to be a really tight scene. Those guys are super great. Shout out to the Northwest crew up there. What up? What up, Eugene Bladers, Oregon Bladers?
I don't think they get this station out there.
I'm going to share this on Facebook. They're all going to see it. I'll be like, y'all got a shout out. Yeah. So.
Shout outs this episode and then links.
I'm just going to, I want the name placard, the lower thirds, just be a shout out to, and then just have it change every single time.
Like we're just rotating like
right,
a sign.
Exactly. Like a tweeter feed. I don't even know what it's called. It's because I'm banned from Twitter because I can't remember my password. Twitter's like, sorry, you set it up for an email address. I didn't know if I really wanted Twitter. So I set it up with I set up a whole new bogus email address that I would never check. It was just going to be for spam and notifications I didn't want if I had to sign up for something on the internet, so I didn't want my main box to get spammed out.
We call that a sock puppet.
A sock puppet, okay. So I set up a sock puppet, and then I set up my Twitter to the sock puppet, and then one day I was all like, yeah, Twitter's sweet. And I couldn't get my password back, so it's set up to this other account. It's at Paul Hubbarth, so it's like the perfect Twitter name. And I was like, hey, Twitter, like, can you just send my password to this other email address? It's the same name as the...
What was the password?
I wish I could tell you.
Oh,
I
man.
don't know. It used to be, well, if I tell you, it's like not a good idea in case somehow they... No, I don't have... I have my rights.
So, what brought you back to Michigan right now?
Oh, a whole lot of things.
Or just prior to this, you were in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah, so prior to this, I was in Eugene, Oregon, and
For ages.
for about 2.5, 3 years-ish, almost 3 years. And I came back to sort of reconnect with everything. My parents were talking about selling the house and moving, and that house been in the family for like 2 generations. So it was really kind of important to me that I went one more time and had one more good summer and said goodbye to everything. And, kind of heartfelt, like, oh man, if they moved to Florida, like, what's that going to do? I guess they've changed their minds since, but...
Where are they moving now? Nowhere?
Nowhere, yeah. I think that's fine, though. They're just going to wait it out a little bit. They want to make sure they make the right choice for themselves, and that's cool, so good for them. I brought a couple things here. This is it's Royal Oak Comix Party, so I have my Comix Party pin.
That's a classic one.
It's a classic pin right
Comics Party
there.
Classic.
ROCP. And this is one of the first comics I got from you guys. It's called There Is a Error. And I like
how you brought our own comics to demo to us on the show. I like that.
It's fun, dude. Like, I always thought it was cool you guys were doing this, and it's cool you guys are still doing it. I think that's so awesome. Way to stick to it. But I love the title of this because there is a error. Just like, I don't know if I've read the whole thing or not ever. I just think I like the title so much that I kept it.
And out of all the comics that Kevin and I have ever made, that one is the most like pop. That one's the most like accessible to any audience.
Yeah.
That's why I don't print it
But
anymore.
it's how it looks, and that it's called There Is a Error, and it's uncomfortable for people to say that. I feel has crippled it because it's the most
definitely.
likable work inside that we've ever done.
I think it's one of
Thank
the-
you.
It's only
it
you,
wouldn't be
but-
one of our comics if there wasn't something extremely off-putting about
Right.
it. It ruined its appeal.
the grammatical mistake, and that you've gone these great lengths to like screen print these titles, and it's just I don't know, I love it. And then I got this one. Mike, you made this one.
Is that Organic State?
This is Organic State, yeah.
Is that an unprinted cover?
Whoa.
Is it black on both
yeah,
sides?
black
That's
on both
ultra
sides.
rare.
Wow.
It's just like the Most Def album. Black on both sides. Isn't that the name of the album that came out like 15 years ago?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, this one was cool because it was I liked the way you just so you took something, you translated it through Google Translate before it was as good as it is now, right? And then you translated
No,
it back.
that one I labored over those sentences. That's all my
really?
writing.
Oh, really? I thought
That's
you did
not,
something a little differently.
We have done
Google
stuff
Translate
with Google Translate,
thing is, there's another comic that has that.
Oh.
but that book is. I spent a lot of time writing those sentences.
Okay.
Yeah, you wrote all of those sentences many times over. didn't
Right,
you?
and-
I mean, it was like a mysterious Twitter account for a
Yes,
while.
there was a secret Twitter account that all of my, what would you even call it? Pizza, erotic pizza,
Can we say what it was?
anthropomorphized pizza stories were written on. I'd prefer not to say the
Oh,
name of the Twitter.
Okay.
This is the episode of like secrets. Messed up Twitter things.
Yeah. But like I was working at a pizza store, so while I was working or while I was slacking off at work, I would be writing these stories about pizzas that come to life in the night and have sex with each other, but also it would be a sexual act for a customer to eat a piece of pizza or for a cook to be preparing a piece of pizza. It would be this ultra sexualized
It's very
anthropomorphized
sexy.
which was I only had to do that idea because my idea of roller coasters that come alive in the night and have sex with each other and have sex with the riders. There's like three novels on ebook
and
Amazon.
a dating simulator.
Don't the Red Hot Chili Peppers have a song about that?
Roller Coaster of Love?
Yeah.
That's the true origin of the...
that was
Isn't
the
that a cover?
inspiration.
Man, that reminds me. I used to work at this Indian restaurant in Eugene, right? They made really good bread, but I can't tell you how they made it because I signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Really?
Yeah, it's a joke. Non-bread.
Oh! If you would have sustained the bottle a little more, that would have been...
non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
That
That story was a bit non sequitur for. No, so I'll tell you another story. So I was living in Eugene. I lived with a couple Latino guys, real cool dudes, and we always had the TV on Dish Latino, right? So all these stories from the Latin worlds, and there's this one story about a guy who broke into a kindergarten classroom and he stole everything except for anything with the number 3 on it. And apparently in the police report they said they have no idea where he is. He broke in, took everything, and vanished without a trace.
Oh my God.
Because trace...
I was totally into that because you told us a real story about those roommates earlier.
Well, that's why I have the chongo here. So this is the chongo.
What's
This is the
chongo
monkey.
mean?
Chongo is Spanish for monkey. And basically, we all worked together, and we all had a lot of fun working together.
You and the roommates?
Yeah, that's how I met him, was through my job.
Okay.
And
At the non-factory?
no, well, there was no Indian restaurant. It was just a joke. I lied. It was a lie. It's just a setup. It was a setup. It was a trap. No, it was at a vegan restaurant I was working at. Nice joint called Cornbread Cafe. They've got tasty food, and I like it. But anyway, there's anyone who worked there and had a beard was called Chongo, like monkey face or whatever.
Monkey face.
Yeah. So we were all Chongo. All of us who had beards were Chongos. And all you Chongos, man, and so one day Navarro goes to the zoo and he's like, "Hey man, I got you a gift." And he gives me the Chongo. So it's cool. So now I got this thing. So it's a little souvenir from past life experience. So it's pretty good. Really fun stuff. But yeah, it became a thing. Call everybody Chongo, Hey, Chongo, easy, man, It's cool.
One of the coolest stories from your era at that job was that lazy was the biggest insult.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was, as somebody who spent time in kitchens, I think that the impactfulness of that story was strong. Where I've worked in fucking shitty kitchens where you just are... Basically, everyone's high all the time.
Right.
Where at that situation, it sounded super cool. It's aspirational.
It's funny because those guys, they work, my roommates were probably two of the strongest, hardest workers I worked with there. And then I worked with another guy from Detroit, and he killed it too, and so, but, up in the Northwest, people are very, chill and relaxed, and so, for example, one of my first experiences as a dishwasher, when I worked in Royal Oak, it was like, "Hey, Paul, I need this clean now, get it clean." I was like, "Okay, done," There it was like, "Hey, if you're not too busy, you got a little extra time, I'm trying to do this thing.
Can you pencil this in?
Can you work this in, then dry it, and if you're not busy, bring it over to me, please. That'd be really nice."
If you're about it.
Right, if you're about it, It's like, I can do that, man. Yeah, totally. But this could have had it done by now. But, it was cool working there, don't get me wrong. But calling people lazy was sort of like a joke we had to sort of keep each other motivated, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was like, "Oh, you are so lazy, man. Why are you so lazy? Oh, I'm working with this guy. He's so lazy." So,
Did that cause any conflicts, like the Michigan working mentality? We were kind of talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Or does it just make you the strongest, most powerful person?
I mean, I wasn't the strongest, most powerful person there. Let's not get it twisted. Definitely not playing that up. And there are people there who worked really hard, you know. But I don't think it had anything to do with being from a certain region, you know.
Yeah.
As far, I mean, there's ideas of work ethic, you know, but there's also ideas of like community, you know, like people maybe are. In my experiences working kitchens here, like people might be a little bit more direct with what they want than like, you know, the if you got a minute, could you please do this thing kind of deal, you know. And
does it have an effect on like the effectiveness of the kitchen or how the work gets done or anything, or both ways seem to work out?
I mean, things worked out. We all felt like things, you know, a number of us felt like things could go better, but it's not like things were bad, you know, like we fed everybody, we fed them quickly, you know, things, we ran a good ship, you know. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh man, this is going well, but we could probably be more efficient, you know, we could probably do even better job. And, you know, you don't have much say in how things run when you're a dishwasher, you know, so you just kind of got to roll with it. So, but, yeah, it was generally pretty cool. And anyway, those two guys I lived with were they were really hard workers. So I want to make a T-shirt that says "Mexico hustles harder" and then give it to them as a gift because I think they'd really like that. They're good guys. So yeah, wah wah. Cool. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's awesome to work anywhere where the people that you're around, no matter what job you're doing, if the people around you are interested in making it more effective and you know, doing a better job. It doesn't matter what it is, it makes it more fun to work there. You know?
It's true. Everyone was contributing their ideas, so that's always good. It's good to be around people who have ideas and share them and try to make them happen, you know. And it's everyone kind of has the same goal, but you're all approaching it differently, which I'm sure anyone who's ever worked in a creative process environment knows how fun that can be at times, you know, but it's cool. But
now that you're back in Detroit,
yes,
and you're going to be, after you go run errands in Oregon again and come back, you're going to be here for good, or at least for a while.
Yeah.
What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish in this time coming back to Detroit?
I mean, I'm here to work on a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, like make as much money as I can, and then take steps towards either, you know, going back to Oregon and opening up a skate shop would be a really cool thing, or you know, getting into school, going back to school, trying to, you know, I've always been kind of into psychology and the brain stuff, and I think
by kind of into, you mean you're applying for like grad school?
Yeah,
for
that's kind of
you already have a psychology.
You're kind of into
this
it.
This man already has a psychology degree.
Yeah.
I have a psychology degree. I've done some research, but that was a long time ago. That was one of the.
You want to talk about any of the research that you were involved with?
Whew. Well, the project I did at Wayne State was we looked at how spirituality or spiritual well-being can predict outcome after a traumatic brain injury, and we found that it is a robust predictor of well-being after an outcome after brain injury. So that was kind of cool. And Detroit's a good place to study. I mean, unfortunately, I suppose Detroit's a good place to study brain injuries because it seems to be prone for crazy things to happen. And it was really interesting working in that lab too, because the number of people who thought that having a brain injury was like the best thing that ever happened to them. I mean, the fact that anyone even thought that was really surprising. I had one guy, I don't know how much I can really talk about this because I had to sign all these things. I think as long as I keep it anonymous. But long story short, the brain injury changed his life and got him out of a really bad situation. So the brain injury to him is a blessing that he's thankful to God happened. And, you know, he's just...
And the paper that came out of that research just makes every atheist groan in unison.
Oh God. Yeah, probably. I mean, look, you can't, whether or not God is real or stuff like that, it's not a scientific question because you can't really disprove it. Even if there is no God, you can't really disprove that. You know, you can have your strong beliefs based on whatever evidence and make your own conclusions, and that's what we're free to do here in this country. So I will support it. But you can study how like behaviors or attitudes affect outcomes in situations. And so that's basically what we were doing, and that's what we found. And so, of course, our population was mostly Christian, I think it was mostly Baptist. And so a fair question is, how would this translate if you looked at other groups and other cultures, where are you going to find this and how are you going to study it? So no one's taking this paper and saying it proves that there's some divine thing out there. But it's also not disproving it. No. But
well, that's interesting. So so you're saying that there was a correlation between the people who had the brain injuries, belief in some kind of higher power, and the effectiveness of the recovery? Is that what it was? Or
basically, yeah, in a nutshell. So how well you cope with adversity in your life, right? And how that relates to your beliefs about the nature of existence, right?
Okay.
So if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So it seems to be the case that when people believe in a higher power, that there is some sort of plan for them, that there is a purpose and things like this in their lives, when they encounter bad or stressful situations, they seem to cope with them better because they just, for whatever reason, their beliefs in why things are happening and what it means determines how they, really it seems to affect how they cope with it. And it seems to be a really powerful coping mechanism for people. And you can say, oh yeah, well that proves, religion's true. And somebody might say, well, it just proves that we develop these coping mechanisms to deal with a chaotic world, to make sense of everything, and that's what's helped us survive as a species, and either one could be right. I don't know.
Sure.
I only have an undergraduate degree, a bachelor's degree, so I haven't gone much further than that with this idea.
Are you interested in going further into that when you're doing more research in the future, or? Maybe,
yeah. Maybe. I know I sort of believe that you could take all these old spiritual books, religious books, and this is my beliefs, right? So it's not like a scientific thing, but I believe that you can abstract truths from all of them, and you can find, or maybe even that these are just really ancient efforts at psychology, to understand like the phenomena of being conscious, right? Mm-hmm. Like we're conscious, things happen. How do we explain it and cope? Oh, well, if this is true, then this will happen, and things happen, and we react, and so we write these books about how to cope with ourselves and how to live in a structure with people and societies. And I took an anthropology class at Wayne State, and they pointed out how religious beliefs have helped build civilizations, like the pyramids. That was a culture and a civilization that was crazy about their religious beliefs, and they used the temples or the pyramids and like their god worshiping to sort of like as the foundation of their daily activities and their lives and their motivations and their reasons for staying together, and like, okay, we're going to bring this order to this crazy place, and their mythology kind of reflects that. You have the underlord chasing away the sun every day or every night, I guess, and then the sun comes back, so this idea of like death and resurrection, and then we're going to build these pyramids, and we're going to fight the chaos and the darkness by doing stuff like this. In Indonesia, there was this place, Jakarta, which was the first successful civilization, I guess, in the area. And they based their entire city and layout and social lives off of the Hindu universe. And so here's another example where you have, religious belief abetting development and successful civilization, or some however you want to define successful, right?
So just
but
being
like establishing,
wanting to know more about what the relationship is between those beliefs and how they're expressed, or like how they aid humans in creating order or
right.
Coping.
I mean, I think it was Carl Sagan who said we are proof that the cosmos is aware of itself. And that's an interesting idea, and I think you can connect that to a lot of ideas about that religion ties into, some supreme being or some benevolent thing or some omnipotent force or whatever. And so that's really interesting. So, where do you go? I don't know where you go from there, but I mean, these ideas just kind of seem like the universe is a really interesting place, and it's fun to be here, and I'm down with it, so that's cool.
Totally.
Well,
I hate to end this, but we're already out of time.
Wow.
Well, that's a good positive note to end.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is a super positive note to end
All
on.
right. Go rollerblade.
Go rollerblade.
Rollerblading.
And we're going to rollerblade out of here. Thanks for joining us. This has been Royal Oak Comics Party. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.